So often I'll be talking with a friend or a client, and they'll tell me something that I find kind of interesting. They'll say, I can't do that. And when this is in the context of a relationship, I'll start just asking some questions. Well, what would happen if you did? Because obviously you can do whatever that thing is. You can speak up for your own needs, for instance, in the relationship. But the person will say, well, I can't do that. Well, what would happen if you did? And interestingly, the answer is always the same. The other person would feel bad. If I did that, that person would feel angry with me. They would get angry, or they would feel anxious, or some other negative feeling would take place in the other person. And I think that's kind of interesting. Because years ago, I went to a psychotherapist myself. I was suffering from depression in college. And I went to one psychotherapist, didn't work very well because all they did was listen and let me spiral down into my depression. That wasn't very helpful for me. So I went to another therapist, another counselor, and this person interrupted me when I started saying things like, I can't do that. And they asked, well, what would happen if you did? My girlfriend would get really upset with me. And they said something interesting to me. They said, you're not responsible for how she feels. You're not responsible for her happiness. Of course, don't be a jerk, be kind and respectful. But if you're just asking for what you need in a relationship and the other person gets upset, that's not your problem. That's their response. And they're responsible for their own response to what you do. So obviously this is easier said than done, but that was mind-blowing information to me. Because I thought, no, I'm definitely responsible for her happiness. If she's upset, it's my fault. Right? I had really internalized that idea that I was in control of her emotions, which is kind of interesting because I'm not even in control of my own emotions, let alone anybody else's. So if you find yourself in a relationship where you feel like, well, I can't do that. I can't speak up for my needs. I can't ask for what I want. I can't do this. I can't do that. I have to do this thing. I must. What we call modal operators of necessity in neuro-linguistic programming. What that means, it's must, have to, I can, can't, these sorts of things. You have to do it. Of course, you don't have to do it. What would happen if you didn't do it? Well, then that person would get angry. That person would have a panic attack. That person would, right? It's just really our fear about what would happen that causes us to think we can't do it. But in fact, you can do it. And yes, they might get upset. They might feel anxious. And you know what? That's okay. It's okay for people to have their feelings. Of course, it's a good thing to be compassionate that they're having that response, but it's also okay to ask for what you need. It's okay to set boundaries and limits. It's okay to let people have their own experience, even as you love them in the relationship you're in with them. Anyway, hi, my name's Duff. I'm a hypnotist. I work through the internet, through Skype. It looks just like this when I work with clients. And I also have an office here in Boulder, Colorado, where I work with people live. And if you have a situation in your life where you feel like you can't do something in a relationship, you can't speak up for your needs or assert yourself, or else somebody's going to get upset. There are ways to become more centered in yourself so that you can ask for what you want in a way that's kind and compassionate and letting the other person have their own response. They can feel their emotions and it doesn't bother you. You can still stay connected with them. So if you want to learn how to do that, get in touch and we can work on that. Thanks for watching and have a great day.